you want to study in Canada, but hey, the whole process seems to be so complex, right? Every international student always complain that it's really hard, they feel super stressed, and there's just so many steps. But the reason they go through this is because of themselves. You might be wondering, what? Well, think about it. You guys wait till your exams are over and you give yourself only 3 months to take care of your entire admissions and visa process, hence all the stress. So what are the 3 things international students who want to study abroad can do to minimize the stress throughout the entire process? Number 1, pick out your program of study even before you finish your exams. This will lead to you figuring out what are the prerequisites of your courses. For example, your IELTS requirement, your core subject requirements. Once you know what you're aiming for, you will eventually do well in your exams and you know which one to do well in. I'll give you a little example of my history. When I was planning on studying in Canada, initially I didn't know what program I wanted to study. So in my A-levels, I had physics, chemistry, economics, and maths. After graduating, I didn't do so well in chemistry, but I really wanted to study chemical engineering. But that couldn't happen because I scored an A in almost every subject other than chemistry, and I did horrible in chemistry. So because it was a prerequisite for all chemical engineering programs, I couldn't get in. So I had to settle for something else. Number 2, prepare for IELTS early if you're not from an English-speaking country. Because here's the thing, so many students underestimate how much preparation goes into your IELTS. Just because you think you're good in English speaking or listening or reading doesn't mean you might do well in IELTS. We have met so many students who come to us after not doing well in their IELTS exams and they get a 5.0 or a 5.5, and now their options are limited. Even if they have all the funds, even if they match all the requirements, they don't have the IELTS requirement to get into their desired institution, and that really becomes an obstacle in the way for you throughout the process. So if your parents are asking you to wait till your HSC or A-level exams are over, stop them. Tell them that, hey, this is not the long-term goal. You're gonna do fine in your exams anyway, but you gotta prepare for what's coming. And IELTS isn't that easy. You gotta really study the marking schemes. You gotta really practice the mock tests and everything, and that takes time. And giving yourself 2 or 3 months just before admission isn't well enough, because if unfortunately, if you don't do well, number 1, you're gonna have to retake that IELTS, which is about 300 Canadian dollars. Then you're gonna lose a lot of time by deferring your intake because you're not gonna be able to make it with the application deadline anymore. So prepare early for your IELTS even before your admission process starts. Number 3, every student messes this up, and it's not really the student's fault, it's the parents' fault. Parents have this habit of always asking their kids to wait for everything, but that's not the right way to go about when it comes to your visa process, because your visa process actually starts before your admission. You might be wondering how, because here's the thing. Let's say if you're planning on going for September 2023 and you're planning on going to Canada, you're gonna need your bank statements from January all the way to June, because around June you're gonna be applying. You gotta give yourself 3 months of processing time. So June, July, August, September, you're gonna give yourself that time for processing time, and you're gonna have to submit your bank statements from January because Canadian visa requires 6 months of statements. Now, are you prepared for that? Because here's the thing, most agents or most people are telling you, you just gotta show funds, but that's not the case. You gotta show income. Some people, after showing 200 or 300,000 Canadian dollars, even after that, they get their visas refused. Why is that? Because they don't groom up their income properly and they're not matching it according to the requirement of Canadian visa specifications. So you gotta know how to do that early on, and it's your parents' responsibility to take care of that early on so they can ensure your visa. So to summarize everything that I just said, number 1, pick your program early so that you know what are the requirements so you don't have to settle for anything less. Number 2, prepare for IELTS early. And lastly, prepare your funds even before your admission process starts. Most parents don't get this part, and at the end, all the stress goes on the student, which is extremely unfair. So if you're watching this and you're a student, make sure your parents see this video and let them know what they are probably making a mistake on. All right, so hope this helps. If you want to see more, make sure to follow and like the page. Comment below if you have some questions. I'll do my best to answer you, and show some love. I guess I'll see you when I see you.